What's up guys, how's it going? I'm not even going to bother looking at how long it's been since I've looked at Flash games. Let's pretend it's been like a month, okay? So what are we doing here? There are around 761 SpongeBob Flash games on Flashpoint and I want to play them all. Maybe, that is a lot after all. If you're wondering what Flashpoint is, it's basically a program that'll let you play a lot of Flash games not on browsers, considering Flash is dead on browsers, and some of those sites are just gone. Think of it as a Flash archive. Anyway, the best chance to see that goal completed is by having a good amount of likes on the video. I'm a simple guy, I don't need a lot of likes. I just want to know that there's a general interest in the video series, so leave a like if you want to see more of this. And why not subscribe while you're down there? It's the best way to make sure you're up to date on this series and our other videos. So this video is a little special because there were enough people that left comments years ago wanting us to look at specific Flash games, so I'm going to look at those first. I'm still doing more after that because I want to have a longer video, but those ones get priority. So if you want to see your favorite talked about, it never hurts to ask. I think we're doing 10 today and I think that feels like a good number, so let's get into it. Oh, also, I'll link the playlist of these videos in the description because who knows, the one you want to see might have already been talked about. Alright, now let's start. First up, we have Bikini Bottom or Bust, a hilariously brutal game based off the Rock Bottom episode. Here the situation is that SpongeBob attempts to get out of Rock Bottom using the balloon from that episode. I guess instead of getting help and floating back to Bikini Bottom easily like in the episode, the game decides to turn SpongeBob into Sisyphus as he dodges rocks as he floats to the top. I'm not entirely sure that you can even make it to Bikini Bottom, but the signs sure make it seem like you can. But I'm almost certain that's just the game fucking with you. One must imagine Sisyphus as a sponge. This is hell. I don't think I can handle it if I was SpongeBob, which I guess does kind of replicate the feeling of hopelessness from the episode. The balloon follows your mouse and sometimes there's a net you can cut. SpongeBob can hit the rocks and only lose points, but if the balloon is hit, then you lose a life. When you lose them all, the funniest thing happens. You fall all the way to the bottom and you have to control your fall. The only thing you could do is dodge rocks so that you don't lose any more points, or you could turn the game off, I guess. The farther you got up, the longer you fall, and like I said, this has to be hell. Fun game though, I like trying to get higher and higher points. Crat Crossing is probably the simplest game. You have to save Gary from something? The old lady maybe? I'm not sure, but Gary is always up to some shenanigans. To get to Gary, you have to get past the bubble fields, or the Crat Crossing based on the title. To do that, you have to traverse bubbles to get across. You can move left or right, and the bubbles seem to spawn randomly, meaning you won't always be able to move forward. There's a little bit of risk and reward involved because you could try to wait as long as you can for a bubble to appear right in front of you, but it might be safer to retreat and go from there. Patrick is also here, and he will screw you over. I've yet to encounter a game where he helps us, and that's so Patrick if you ask me. You can ride your pet seahorse, which takes you a long way and can get a pearl from your baby clam to jump a lot further, but you still might fall into a gap. Now that I think about it, did Gary have to do this on the way here? What a snail. When I played Dutchman Dash, I was kind of surprised. I did not expect to be playing Super Mario Flash with a SpongeBob skin, or maybe a Flash version of Donkey Kong Country would be a more apt comparison. It plays exactly how you would expect a Flash Mario game to play, which means it's a little less smooth and closer to the older ones. You can even jump on top of enemies, and there are upgrades, one of which is basically the Fire Flower. The other is a Pufferfish upgrade that lets you puff up and hit people around you. The cool thing is that if you use it in the air, you float a little bit. And now that I think about it, this is basically the Tanuki suit, but worse. That Donkey Kong Country comparison comes in when you get hit. SpongeBob getting hit means that Patrick will tag in and take over where SpongeBob left off, which makes my point about Pat being actively against us instantly irrelevant. And if Patrick gets hit, you lose life and SpongeBob tags back in. But the difference is that SpongeBob comes back in at the last checkpoint, which is kind of far back. This is one of my favorite ones so far because it's just Mario. I like the varied backgrounds and there are some weird enemies. I could see Kid Me spending a lot of time on this. Funny enough, the next game has almost the same name as the previous game, which made things a little confusing. Next, we have Dutchman's Dash of Doom, and don't get it twisted, it's pretty different from the previous game. This time you're actually on a Dutchman ship and you're trying to get out of there. Though, like Rock Bottom, it's endless. It's so endless that even though there are levels in this game, there's not even a break in gameplay. It just keeps going, which is crazy. I almost lost a couple times because the graphic distracted me a little too long. The game is an auto runner where you move up and down, left and right. The main obstacles are boxes strewn about the ship that SpongeBob and Patrick have to dodge. You press space to jump over boxes and you hold space to go over them. As levels go on, the boxes come faster and faster until it gets too stressful to keep going on. Also, there isn't much reason to move forward except for when Sandy drops in to give you a bag with points in it. She makes you go really far forward, and I'm always worried that I'm about to get hit. It's scary shit, man. Now for the final viewer requested game, we have SpongeBob Can Squeeze. The idea of this game is that Bikini Bottom is dealing with an oil spillage problem, probably from plankton if we're being honest, and it's up to SpongeBob to clean it all up. That makes sense, sure, he's a sponge. Who else would do it other than him? I won't think too hard about how oil is staying on the ground in the ocean. They have plenty of oil in Bikini Bottom. It's better to just accept it. You go to each oil spill and SpongeBob leaves a piece of him to soak up the oil, and he could do this 4 times, which gives us the funny visual of SpongeBob running around with just his legs. Eventually, when you have all your parts together and enough oil, you go to the ringer to filter the water and start the process again. If you have enough filtered water by the time the timer ends, you've finished the level. Of course, you have obstacles. Patrick acts like the ass he is and runs around slowing you down if you're near him. There are also tornadoes that steal your water, but it didn't really affect me much when I was playing. There are power-ups as well, seeing as this is a flash game after all. One is to make you run really fast, like you just bumped a line fast. The other one is a mirror that distracts Patrick, and I'm not sure if this means he's vain or he's easily entertained. That's rhetorical, I know the answer, but does he not own a mirror? I know he's dumb, but jeez. You move by clicking where you want Spongy Boy to go, and it's serviceable. I did have pathing issues with getting where I wanted to go, but if you don't spam click, it's not as big of a problem. There are 3 stages and they cycle, adding more obstacles every time you cycle around, which is some effort to keep things fresh, but it would have been better just to add more levels. It's easy to zone out and play this game though, so that's cool. Boo or Boom is an interesting game. Interesting in the sense that it's essentially a SpongeBob Bomberman. There are plankton bots laying around in the stage and you can destroy them with plumpsters. What the hell is a plumpster? I can't even begin to figure out what a plumpster is. It looks like a stink bomb, maybe? I don't think the show has a plumpster in it anyway, but I'll admit that anything past a certain season is a blind spot for me. I don't want to Google it because I'm scared I'll find something less desirable. They should have just called it a bubble bomb. That sounds cool as hell. Anyway, when you place a plumpster, it leaves a color on the ground based on what color you are, and you have to compete with 3 other characters to cover the most ground with your color, if that makes sense. It's like that stamp minigame in Mario Party. If you look at the screen and you see mostly your color, you're fine. Well, I guess that's not entirely true because each color square gives you points and you're more competing to get the most points. The big way to get points is by surrounding a house with your color. There are houses littered about, and if they're in your character's color, that's the easiest way to win. So the best strat is to just go hard at the houses. Of course there are power-ups because it's a flash game, but it's mostly around making your plumpsters better. Also, if you get caught in a plumpster plumpsplosion, you lose all your points and might as well restart. Again, I'm basically describing Bomberman, and for that reason, I had a good time with it. I like Bomberman, and this is that. Maybe the movement isn't as smooth, but it's a flash game, what would I expect? Bubble Busting Game was one of the mini games created for the SpongeBob movie. This one revolving around SpongeBob and Patrick's experience at the Thug Tug. There's a bubble blowing baby around here and everyone's trying to figure out who it is. In the movie it was by singing the Goofy Goober song, but in this game it's by blowing a bunch of bubbles and seeing who will laugh at it. So what you have to do is pop all the bubbles in front of SpongeBob's face before he laughs. This is basically aim labs in flash form. It requires precise mouse movement, or you can, spam your mouse button and swing it around, though I feel like the game doesn't register all my clicks. You can also freeze the bubbles or blow them up completely with the power-ups that you get because it's a flash game. It's very easy to get overwhelmed though because the bubbles come fast and furious, but I had fun with it. Plus I like the faces SpongeBob made and the screen he does when a level is finished is always funny. Bumper subs is another competitive game. You choose a character and have to, you guessed it, bump other people's subs. It's pretty simple all things considered. You move left and right and can shift between forward and reverse. The game is basically unplayable with the mouse, but at least you can use your keyboard. I only mention this here because I really thought this was a mouse-only game at first. Sure, you gotta look out for subs to hit, but the bigger thing to look out for are whales. They will eat you like you're plankton and you'll instantly get a game over. And they move a lot faster than you would expect. There are also jellyfish, but those take 3 hits before you lose. You'll mostly be looking at the minimap because looking out the window doesn't provide much information other than shouting whale at you. The game is fine to kill some time, but the best part about it was looking at Mr. Krabs' face. He's not having a good time. I was really debating adding this game to the video, but it's on the list and someone may have brought it up if I didn't mention it. So next up we have SpongeBob's coloring book. If you're as old as me, you may remember getting CDs that had digital coloring books on them. There are 6 characters here that you can color, but there oddly isn't a lot of variety. You would think all the main characters would be here and maybe more, but we only get SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Sandy. At least give us Mr. Krabs or a picture of the Krusty Krab. And that's another thing too. The pictures are pretty simplistic all things considered, but I guess this was only made to take a little bit of your time. You could fill in the picture using a paint tool, and you can also add your own little lines and shapes and drawings if you so choose. This is the biggest relic of the group because I truly can't imagine someone wanting to open this up in the modern day when you can basically achieve the same thing on Photoshop or even Microsoft Paint now that I think about it. I mean it, make literally any drawing you want black and white and go ballistic. You've earned it, buddy. Finally, we have Deep Sea Smash Out, and it's Brick Break, or Breakout I guess? Have you played Brick Break, Breakout, or one of the mini clones of it? It's that. Nothing more, nothing less. Bounce Gary off of SpongeBob and break all the sticks. I think those are sticks. I'm not really sure what to call them, but yeah, not really sure what to say about this. It's fine. I like Brick Break, I can't complain. And hey, it moves better than the Neopets one. And there we have it, a look at a bunch of SpongeBob Flash games. Like I said, I prioritize viewer requested games, so if there is a SpongeBob Flash game you want me to play and look at, leave a comment below. Or if you want to say I'm so funny or another compliment, you can comment that too. No rules, baby. And if you did like the video, subscribe if you want to be up to date on when we have new videos. Or maybe you like shorts. Probably not, but we do a lot of those, and that's more for ideas that I have that won't fit a full video. We also have a Patreon link below, and that's for if you want to support us. No pressure though. You can see these videos earlier, and I'm more likely to respond there. Alright, enough shilling. Thank you so much for watching, and before you and your buddies procure some plumpsters, have a good day.